Now, with that, following you on social media and your books and all of the things that you do work with a lot of different deities from a lot of different pantheons. How do you find them? Do they find you?
Oh, good question. So sometimes I feel that I'm open sort of like slaver for them, for whoever is popping along, wanting to find contact in this realm without sounding so egotistical. I do have a few main ones that I've long been drawn to, in particular of the Egyptian pantheon. But again, I sort of see them, it's a little bit hard to describe because part of me is saying there's the Dion Fortune's quote that all gods are one god and all goddesses are one goddess. And then there's the one initiator. And that, yes, means that every god and goddess are basically an aspect of the one, so to speak, which sort of flows in with the Hermetic teachings as well. But having said that, when you work with deities specifically, they do have their own energetics and especially their own sort of like energy to them, or depending on how you sort of approach them. As to whether I go searching for them or they come to me, I remember earlier in the piece, I think it was back in the 90s, before I was on the verge, I was going to England that first time. I was very attracted to Artemis. I was a young single woman, sort of out there with my bow and arrow off to conquer the world, so to speak. Being a typical Aries, rushing in where angels fear to tread. And the group that I was at the time, their parting gift to me was where I would step in the role as the high priestess with the drawing down the moon, which is part of a Wiccan rite, where the moon gets sort of called down to the priestess. And the goddess who came through then wasn't Artemis, it was actually Aset or Isis who is behind me, which actually surprised me because I knew very little about Egyptian mythology at that time. I was sort of speaking if it wasn't going to be Greek or Roman, maybe it would be Celtic, because I had spent 5 years studying Celtic mythology and I was going off doing a Celtic course basically around the British Isles. But no, it was an Egyptian goddess. And I think too, she was an aspect too of, say, the Great Mother that's around us all the time. And from then on, I work both ways, to be perfectly honest. Through my writing, like when I was writing my Dark Goddess book, I felt there were some goddesses wanted to come through because they wanted their story told. And those are the goddesses that I weren't personally familiar with. So I do a lot of research to sort of get myself a little bit more familiar with them. And some of them just pop along because, I don't know. And again, I'm there, I'm doing rituals. I like doing rituals. I'm sort of very devotional in my work. And I like to recite, say, the ancient hymns, or when I write my own poetry, my own invocation, I like to sort of stylize it on those ancient hymns of, the Homer or the Phaeric hymns, because I really like them. And I don't know, and they just pop along and they seem to enjoy it as well. So it's very unusual.
I think it's important to be open though, isn't it? I think that's the key, isn't it? To be open to whoever comes along, because it will be for a reason.
It is, and I think also you can just say, I've got a friend, she's very psychic, or mediumship, she just goes, hello, who's there? And that's quite interesting to be in circle when she's just going, hello, who's there? I sort of would like to sort of have a precursor as to who to expect, but we have had rites, yes, I had a subgroup of a main group at one stage, and we decided we'd do a Dark Goddess, one of my first Dark Goddess workings. And I had this deck of cards, and I'd pulled out all the Dark Goddess cards, and we'd laid them in, and we called them and lined them up to specific waters and elements and all that stuff. And we were sitting down to our magical working, and myself and another person got this vision of another goddess stomping through our circle, demanding why she was not included. And so we just sort of came out of it and looked at each other and said, did you feel what I felt? And just like, yeah, something, yeah. Someone wanted to be included. Someone got their nose out of joint, shall we say. So we quickly amended that with a special right just for her. So it's a bit of a joke afterwards. But yes, so, how I approach it is there's a seriousness and also a bit of sort of lightheartedness as well.
The gods have a sense of humour, don't they? They must have a sense of humour to deal with us humans.
And especially if someone's creating an altar there and giving them something, say, I don't want to give you blood, but here, have some orange cordial. They'll be sitting there going, no, prick your finger, I want blood.
What are you talking about?
Orange cordial, what's that stuff? Yes, to deal with us, they must have a little bit of a sense of humour. I like to think that I'm a bit of a cosmic joke to them as well, so yes.